Board members, while we're waiting for Deputy Superintendent Scott Jones to come in, we're going to start the Finance Committee. It's 1:45. We kind of want to be mindful of our time as we're still trying to get through this agenda, and there's the Teacher of the Year banquet and recognition tonight. So we're going to, people keep saying, so really, what time are we going to be done? What time are we going to be done? I said, we're going to be done when we're done. And our agenda says 5:15, but I think if we can push and try to be done by at least like 5:30, it gives people an opportunity to make that meeting. So we are going to be moving forward. So committee chairs, I hope you're ready. We're going to start with finance. Board Member Belknap, you're the chair of that committee. The time is yours. We're going to just focus on the actions.
Okay, so we're moving to 10.6, which is a report on Way Ahead and with Utah grants. The staff reviewed the Utah grants budget with the committee, which reflects that the program is within budget. Cost and uncertainty seem to be the two biggest concerns from the agency, but the system does seem to be working well, and the USBE is mitigating some of the uncertainty on that. And in May, the USBE moved from a time and materials agreement with the vendor and implemented statements of work, which is a firm fixed price contract that outlines specific deliveries and tasks through December 31st, 2019. There's been a marked change in what has happened, and staff provided an overview of the program improvements to the committee using the LEA experiences with this Utah grant. The USBE received approval from the federal government to use the statewide longitudinal data grant funds for licensing costs and Tier 1 support. Tier 1 support is moving from the vendor to the Department of Technology, and staff was seeking approval for the Tier 1 bridging strategy that's available. So the committee action, Board Member Bolter moved that the committee voted unanimously to recommend that the board approve the Tier 1 bridging strategy. So the motion is that committee moves that the board approve the reallocation of funding related to licensing and Tier 1 support to support the budget for implementation and ongoing sustainment of the grants management system.
Okay, the motion before the board is that the board approve the reallocation of funding related to licensing and Tier 1 support to support the budget for implementation and ongoing sustainment of the grants management system. Any discussion to the motion? Board Member Scott Hansen.
Just a question. I'm looking at the memo that was issued, and it says that we're nearing full implementation status and are looking at ongoing costs for maintenance of the system with state finance. This is a statewide contract, and additional state agencies have yet to transition to the system, which is resulting in unanticipated costs. It says the budget remains intact, but decisions need to be made on covering the increased costs. My question is, are these additional state agencies, are they obligated somehow contractually to get on board, or could they just hang out forever and we're bearing those unanticipated costs forever?
Deputy Superintendent Scott Jones.
The answer to that question is no. The state agencies are not obligated to enter into or become part of the system. There's ongoing meetings, though. We felt strongly that with the Tier 1 aspect of it, that once the other agencies saw how far we'd progressed with the system, and UVOC, or I might have said that abbreviation wrong, are in it too, and what we're experiencing at this point, we'd anticipate that they would come on at a later date. As with any system like this, the more use it has, by way of agencies and all that, then typically the costs go down. We're still well within our budget, as far as not only the implementation but the sustainment for at least up to 7 to 10 years, because we do pay licensing costs and all that. So we'll keep the board appraised if it becomes. I meet with Director Reedhead of State Finance, so we're scheduled to. Well, not actually a set date yet, but we'll meet again and see where we're at as far as the other agencies go, and I'll advise accordingly.
Is there follow-up
Okay,
question?
follow-up.
Is there anything we can do to entice them maybe to get on board? Can we give them a free month at the beginning or something like that?
Yeah,
Introductory
well-
pricing?
Right, since it is a statewide contract, at this level, we can't necessarily do that, right? I mean, it has to be done through procurement channels, through the state office. We can only go directly to the vendor if it just is within our scope and with our, but we can certainly demonstrate what good things the system has done for us, and we're not done yet. We're still making changes and, aspects to of certain particular deliverables for our staff to use and also the field to use. But, we'll just demonstrate that how far we've come along, and I think that might be a good indicator for other agencies, it's a system that could be put to good use by them, so.
And just one more quick follow-up. What's the impact then of them not getting on board?
Just the amounts that you see right now, but again, because to the point that Finance Committee Chair Belknap made, is that, now we have the other source of funding that the federal government authorized, which is from the statewide longitudinal data system. We didn't know that when we first came in, so I wouldn't say there's plenty of money, but we have the ability to get to what right is as far as the system goes for implementation and then sustain it for up to 10 years, subject to any unknown or unforeseen
Okay,
circumstances.
thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this item? The motion before the board is that the board approve the reallocation of funding related to licensing and Tier 1 support to support the budget for implementation and ongoing sustainment of the grants management systems. Let's take that to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Voting is unanimous. Please continue.
Thank you, Chair. On 10.7, it's mostly informational, that we're going to continue to get information on our USIMS and our budget execution of that funding that was a priority for us in last session. And then 10.8, the committee just asked for additional information requests. Lorraine, did I miss anything? No other motions? Okay, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay,